1997. My name is Mr. Byron. For those of you who haven't worked with me before, I'd like to thank Mr. Nugent for lending me this awesome nautical map, and it just so happens that it is where he did his sailing course. And it's also a lesson. You'll need the navigation sheet. It looks like this. Navigation 1 at the top. Email me at chris.byron@westmountcharter.com, or just drop by in to the class and I will get you a copy. I set it up. It goes a few things from this lesson, and it'll go through maybe a few additional things from the booklet that you got. This lesson, what am I talking about? Let's see if I can get this on. There we go. First thing I'm talking about is nautical time, just what it means. The second thing I'm talking about is basic map reading skills, because you might be asked to do that on the bridge. Locations, how to define locations, and bridge conduct. All things that might happen if you are part of that crew. First, nautical time. Nautical time is broken up instead of AM and PM. They just they go right from midnight to midnight. Of course, that would be then, instead of repeating itself and making AM, PM at noon, they would use in typical, we go from 12 to 12, and then we repeat the process and differentiate between it by mentioning AM and PM. In military time or nautical time, which what they'll be using on the ship, that works fine for half of the day. You start at midnight, which happens to be 0 or 24, and as you work your way throughout the morning, you'll get to 12, which is 12 noon, of course. This would be 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, etc. 6 or 7 in the morning, 8, 9, 10. I didn't count the hatching, so I'm just doing this as an example. Once you get into the afternoon, then you start continuing on the base 10. So you're going to 13, 14, and so on. You might have seen parking signs like that in Calgary if your parents are parking, or if you're driving. I don't know if you have your beginners yet. They tend to put it on 24-hour time too. Okay, this is a map of the area that we're going to be in. Again, you can see various depths represented by the small black numbers written in this area in the middle of the water. Of course, this is land here, and the depths are written. Here's 50. This is a metric map, so I'm assuming that's 50 meters. It says at the base. So each of these numbers tell you the depth, and that's how you plan your route, depending on how much water you need for your boat. As you get close to the shore, you'll see dotted lines. Very close to the shore, it might be difficult to see on that. If I scroll down to the Sydney Spit just a bit more, you'll see, there we go, this area here will actually be there on the trip. This area here is the Sydney Spit, Sydney Island Spit. It's a marine park, and you can see some dotted line in here, and suggesting that the tide tends to smudge where actually the land is and where the water is. For other features you'll notice on this, I've just highlighted with the pencil, is a buoy with a light on it, and or some type of lighthouse. You can see it's magenta is the color, and usually a triangle or set triangle. And you can see James Island, which is here, and we'll have you doing that on the other lesson. To here, I would use these lighthouses as a location beacons. And plan I can just go right from it, and if it's a clear day, I'll even see it and plan my route accordingly. Depending on the depth here. Here I'm always seem to be over 20 meters until I get close to the shore, and so I have lots of water for most small boats to deal with. Okay, another feature of maps, this is Moresby Island, and you can see there's some contour lines. Now contour lines depend on the size of the map, they'll be different. These are these black lines, and they're to give you a three-dimensional sense on a two-dimensional medium. So this here, each contour line designates an increase in elevation above the ocean. Typically, on certain maps, they're going to be 10 meters, and it'll say so in the legend of the map. And I'll get to the legend in a second. Where you can see that there's more elevation quickly gaining is in this area here. You notice the contours are closer together, and that would suggest that it's near a steeper hill. Where it's flatter here, there's more distance between the contours, then it is a easier walk. So if you're walking this hill and you didn't have, you wanted to take an easy route, you'd follow the ridge line up here, or if you wanted to rip it up, you'd take it that way. Top of the map is north. So this is a northern direction, straight up that way, or 0 degrees relative to the compass. South is down here, east and west is compass rose, and you can see that I'm about 20 degrees east. Your compass will tend to point towards the magnetic north, which is this degrees. Why it says 20 is because magnetic north and true north are not in the same location, and the further away you are away from Thunder Bay, the more the difference this will be. But that's all I'll say. If you want to talk to me about compasses, then come into my class and I can sit you down for the location. I have Stewie in his canoe, and there's two ways you can talk about location. You can, but it's all relative to what the boat. This is the bow of the boat, and this is the after stern. They tend to use port side and starboard side of the boat. And it's the same no matter which direction the boat is facing. That's the bow, that's the stern, that's the bow, that's the stern, that's the starboard, that's the port. So if I'm facing this direction, my location can be in 12-hour time. For example, if Stewie pops out of his boat and stands over by Moresby, the boat's pointing at 0 or 12 o'clock, and right here is about 1 or 2 o'clock. So if you're working in spotting for deadheads, etc., you would do it. And here you'd be 3 o'clock, and likewise over here, 9 o'clock. So if you see a deadhead and you're on lookout, and you might see, look, we got a Stewie on the port bow, or off the port, you could say 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and let the captain decide if it's an issue or not. The other method you could use is just degrees of a circle, just like if you were popping a 720 or a 360 or whatever in a skateboard or in a snowboard. 0 degrees, 90, somewhere in between. Stewie lost his bib, and 270, 180 in the back. So those are two methods of doing location if you're on lookout.